Let's go to the Western Cape. We understand that there are some developments that happen there. Apparently, party affiliates and party members of different political parties are quite upset with the IEC at one of the provincial, results center in the Western Cape. And our reporter is there on the ground. And let's try and see if we can go to Atule Joka in the Western Cape. Atule, thank you so much for joining us. We're hearing some very disturbing, information there, Atule, about what is transpired there a few moments ago in the results center. Talk to us about what transpired there.
Well, thank you very much. That was quite interesting. A drama unfolded here as the media, we were seated down waiting for the IEC to give us a final breakdown of what had happened over the past few days, to also give us the results of what had panned out in the city of Cape Town and also the Western Cape all as at large. But that was interrupted by one member of what you can call the so-called smaller parties, Mr. Anwar David of Mr. Adams of Democratic Independence, to say that the votes were rigged, there were irregularities in the votes, and also he accuses the IEC of being captured. That media press conference had to be cut short, and the IEC told us as the media that there's nothing they can do, and then a national anthem was played amongst it. So a drama ensued. It was chaotic. A pandemonium broke out, and the member of Democratic Independence would not back down to say they are calling for re-election. I do have the man who interrupted the press conference here today, Mr. Adams. You seem to be quite very angry here today, calling for the re-election and also interrupting that press conference. What truly transpired? What made you to do that?
It's not anger. It's far from anger. It's actually the lies that we are allowed to feed the media, and who is actually feeding that lies. A person that wants to represent political parties as the IEC, they call him the Western Cape Electoral Officer. I have given him a new name, which is the Western Cape Electoral Puppet, because I want to know whose tune he is dancing to. Because when I pick up the phone and you phone a person that is in a position like that, especially as a president of the DI, I expect that person to be available at all times. Like I am available when I serve the communities as a councillor, 24/7. People would phone me and I would react and I would respond to their needs. It is not a matter of taking charge of their case immediately. It's a matter of listening to people. We have come to an election. The same thing has been done when ICASA has called us into a meeting 2 weeks ago, and they're promising the DI, we got slot number 34 for us to go to the TV and radio, and we would get that free 50 seconds. We especially went and made a video. We don't have the funds. That was done for us pro bono. Here, all of a sudden, we are told by the SABC it must be in a certain format.
Surely, before the elections, you were aware.
We were not made
of the
aware.
mechanism to address some of your problems.
We are aware of all those, but nothing happened before that. It has taken place prior to this election, 2 weeks to the election. We could see how irregular things was happening. But most of the complaints that we are addressing now, and the reason why I stopped this, besides for what I've just explained to you, is because they're asking the media questions and not the political parties. It is the political parties that has been barred from going inside here, and only certain political parties is allowed inside, which is unfair, because each and every independent and each and every political party pays the same price to partake in this election, which means they should have the same rights allowed to them. If you are basically infringing on any political party's rights, then we as the DI will be here to stand for that right. We are not here to slander. We're not here to talk about any political party. We're talking here about the future of our country and the future of our communities and the future of our people, and that's what the DI is here to represent. And what we heard them wanting to do, the lies that the electoral puppet was actually was busy telling us, I had to intervene, because you needed to hear the story from the political parties and what they are faced with. We have proof. Now,
it seems like you're fighting for political rights. I mean, with that vote rigging coming in and also people from the streets, can you talk to
the issue, there's a serious issue in the city of Cape Town. that the IEC workers work for a particular party, and that is the ruling party. That is one of the strongest gripes, because immediately when you walk into a
big assertion to make
it is a big one, but I mean there is proof to that. The thing is, these are things that needs to be investigated. I'm sick and tired. For 12 years I've been fighting this thing. One serious point is, how can you tell me that campaigning stops at 12 o'clock the night before elections, yet the very next morning you allow political parties to put up gazebos, and then they go out and hand out t-shirts and leaflets and take your hand and say, hey, let me check
taxis to pick up people.
Yeah, we as smaller parties, I can tell you now, and I can vouch for that we have serious and ethical leadership amongst all of these political parties, yet we are allowing political parties that are rogues and politicians to make choices for us. I say not anymore. Power back to the people, and the people will decide and make their own decisions. So when is the media going to start listening to us and then start giving us that airtime, and not just to the leaders of the country or the leaders of political parties, which are not... You can only call Amandla Awetu when you say Izwaletu I Africa. The land belongs to us and Africa first. So you can't say Amandla Awetu because you don't have the power. Yet we need to take back the power. And we as DI, we are here to take back the power, and we will share it with the people, because these people represent our communities. So that's what we want. We are standing here for the rights, our rights and our people's rights.
How did your party do on the polls, and what were you hoping for?
Well, I don't know yet because the results are not out. So since it's about talking about how did we do when the final results is out, yet they're saying they want to close at 6 o'clock here when the results are not finally counted. Nothing has been final counted. You cannot close this centre and there's still votes that's not been counted. It must stay open until that time.
It seems like it's not only your party which has a problem there.
All of the parties standing as one year.
I think it's only fair that you interview them.
We were listening to a first briefing inside, and then Mr. Adams interrupted to say that there is a lot of various small political parties which are not very satisfied with all the procedures here.
Yeah.
What happened? Were you not allowed inside? Just talk to us.
Okay, I'm going to take you through a few issues. First and foremost, we're not even talking about what's happening here. First and foremost, this election was not free and fair. There's so many people, the boundaries have changed, right? The ward boundaries have changed. The IEC has not done its job. It was supposed to notify people that your boundary has changed. Our people are poor. When our people go out to go and vote, if they told the boundary has changed and it's raining, they don't have transport to go to the next voting station, which is far away from where they live, that's one of the first issues. Secondly, us as the DPM, the biggest issue that we have is, with regards to the counting process was fundamentally flawed. Why? They are counting.
Thank you so much for your time.
That's it?
Unfortunately, because of time, we had to cut it at the end. But those are the moments. Various small political parties outside.
That's another thing.
Wow, certainly chaotic scenes coming out of the Western Cape. They will definitely get back to Atula in a short moment.